Hey there, I'm Sean Zock. And this is Dylan Dethier. While Dylan once played on the Canadian Tour, he is much more a professional journalist these days than a golfer.
You said it.
Dylan was granted a spot in the Goslings Invitational, so I was back on the bag.
Up there. That is a fortuitous kick.
We spent 2 weeks preparing his game in true spec, really trying to dial in those feels. And then Dylan flew west. He had a meeting with Insta-famous coach George Gankis.
You're already falling forward, and then your butts could probably get sucked in. No, it didn't actually. What I like most about this, though, is that I like your structure up top a lot.
Nice.
The left arm.
No one's ever told me that before.
That's because they don't know what they're doing.
What's your goal here?
This shot?
No, with what we're doing here.
I just want to get some of my feels back.
That's it.
Some of my playing feels.
By the time we reached Bermuda, we had really one goal in mind: make some damn money. And you quickly learn one thing in Bermuda, and that's everybody is so damn nice, beginning with the cab drivers. Our driver claimed to be known all around the island as Dingbat. Yes, Dingbat. He even gave Dylan a Port Royal ball marker.
See, I never get you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at this. Port Royal, all right.
That's where we'd play the first round. Definitely a good vibe there. And come to think of it, it was all good vibes for Dylan. He's a Massachusetts kid, and oddly enough, this is a New England PGA event. There were dozens of other mass holes in the field, so he was comfortable. And his Pro-Am 4-ball opponent? That was fellow Massachusetts man Matt Parziale, the 2017 US Mid-Am champ, who played in the Masters and he was Low-Am at the US Open at Shinnecock. But at the start of the week, the focus was still on the money.
It's about 110-man field. Pros, AMs, $70,000 cash purse. We're here to make some money.
At the very least, a finish in 15th place would pay the majority of Dylan's Upper East Side rent. And 10% of that, of course, my cut, that would cover most of my flight home for Christmas. A lot of confidence in Dylan right now. Short game looks super tight. I think his driver is probably the best club in his bag, which is an asset. We're just trying to get in the money. We're really, that's important for me because I get my 10%. So that's really kind of all I'm focused on. The only real issue was that it was windy as hell at Port Royal. And it was only going to get worse. Round one, we played with Englishman Henry Smart, who simply epitomized trage goals in the wind. When Dylan two-putted from 40 feet for par on the first hole, Henry called it lovely. That's when we knew it'd be a good day. The benefit of how Port Royal is set up is that the first 6 holes, they run away from the ocean and they're extremely downhill. So that shields those holes from the crazy wind, and unsurprisingly, that's where Dylan scored his best. 2 under, we were off and running, but well aware that the back nine was going to be more difficult. Sadly, on the 15th hole, this is how our cameraman found us, hopelessly staring into the thicket. A lost ball meant hitting 3 off the tee and a double bogey. Which brings us to 16. That's the feature hole at Port Royal. Now keep in mind, this is the Atlantic Ocean, and this is late November, where the wind is so constant that, you actually have to start your ball out over the cliff edge and trust the wind to carry it back to safety. That's kind of freaky. Mr. Trage Goals hit a low, stinging shot to 25 feet, made his birdie, and earned a skin. Dylan did not do that. After getting up and down for par, Dylan rinsed his next tee shot on the par 5 17. Drop. Then he rinsed his approach. Drop. But after a par on 18, we added it all up. 3 lost balls, 2 birdies, 3 over, and 74 strokes. For the first time in a long time, Dylan slept on a spot in the top 10.
It's a dark and stormy morning here at the Goslings Invitational.
Overnight rain made many of Port Royal's bunkers unplayable, and the second round was canceled. Now, a pessimist would say, we lost 18 holes of opportunity to separate Dylan from the field.
Nowhere else to go but right here anyway.
But an optimist would say, congrats guys, you get to stay in the top 10 for another night. So we celebrated with some lava cake. With reshuffled tee times for the third round, we had the luxury of sleeping in. Then it was off to a second golf course named Belmont Hills on a new mode of transportation. Get you a caddy who can do both. Now, Belmont Hills is an interesting golf course. In brutal wind with its out-of-bounds markers on each of its 18 holes, Dylan aptly dubbed it a torture chamber. And to make matters worse, Belmont doesn't have a true driving range. It has the Belmont Hills Golf Academy, where you can bang balls into a net and just visualize your ball flight. Not great. Many players didn't even hit balls at all. But that's where we met Belmont Hills whisperer,
What's the
Arena.
key to playing Belmont Hills?
The key is playing Belmont Hills is trust your ball.
Trust your ball. What happens if you don't trust your ball?
And you're gonna have a bad relationship with your ball.
Dylan did not trust his ball. But let's just put it this way. He walked onto the first tee at 3 over for the event, and he walked off the 5th green at 12 over. That's right, we made a 10.
This golf course, these white stakes, they have bought up, they're at least renting. They're renting space inside my brain.
Thursday was not Dylan's day. Could you say that all those white stakes and the 35 miles per hour worth of wind got in his head? Yeah, you could probably say that. Did his caddy do everything that he could do to breed confidence? No, probably not. We don't need to show you the bad shots. With 13 over 84, you know they exist. But as Dylan reminded me after the round, the thing about stroke play tournament golf is that it can always get worse. Always. I got one question for you. You just hit your first tee shot. What's the number?
Wow. 68. 68 today.
Dylan began his round of revenge with a birdie on the second hole. And reaching the 5th, it was payback time.
I made a 10-year yesterday and a black cat just ran across the fairway. So this is where we're teeing off. This is all out of bounds, out of bounds, out of bounds, out of bounds. Yesterday we were over here
Off the map.
and hit it out of bounds, tree, short, green, 2-putt, 10.
Simple as that.
Hit it driver. Not out of bounds yet.
Dylan took that good juju from 5 and made birdies on 6 and 8. So, for those counting at home, on holes 4 through 9, Dylan made 34 strokes on Thursday, and he made 24 on Friday. 10-shot improvement. He made everything inside 6 feet. Thank you, obviously, to great reads from his caddy. Then the back 9 came. Dylan was absolutely dialed in with his wedges. He made birdies on 10, 12, 13, and 14. The game felt easy. All of a sudden, that 15th spot on the leaderboard, it was back on our radar. Now, if what they say is true, that the test of the clutch gene is the final 4 holes of a golf tournament, well, we definitely could have been a bit more clutch. As the scores came in, our dream of finishing in the top 15 became more and more bleak. That damn 10 on Thursday really killed our backdoor top 15. Remember that smooth 6-iron to 4 feet on the 3rd hole that Dylan made during the first round? That earned him a skin and 145 big ones. Sure, Matthias Gronberg made an ace that day, But Mr. Groenberg failed to buy into the skins game, serving a simple reminder to everybody out there. Always, always buy into the skins game. Because in the end, you can not only make yourself some money, but you make some for your caddy as well.